What's up, you guys? This is HJ here, and in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how you can turn a very not-so-gaming machine, plain black computer here, into something that's more gaming compatible and more gamer friendly. Now, this method does not involve ripping out your whole motherboard like the Hulk. I know, some people would automatically think, hey, do I have to do anything to my motherboard to get a GPU in? Funny story? No, you don't. Actually, it's very simple. If you guys have an old computer lying around, you guys can easily remedy your GPU problem, because I have a simple formula for it. And I know it's math, but no, I'm not your math teacher. I'm not gonna go into detail with it. Very simple. Whatever RAM you currently have, for example, I have 16 in total. Whatever you currently have, divide that by 2. So in my case, I would have 8 video RAM, basically, or VRAM. If you had 32 and your computer was compatible with it, you'd have 16, and then so forth. Could have 128 gigabytes of RAM, because I think they do make single RAMs of 64. So you guys have 128, then obviously you'd have 64. So that's the general magic formula. Now, I already showed you guys on a previous video how to take out the RAM from this particular computer and install it. If you guys have a computer that's different than a 3511 from Dell, then you guys will need to find a video on how to take the RAM out, because I'm not liable if your computer breaks because you used my tutorial for a laptop that's not your laptop and then messed it up, okay? So I just want to let you guys know that as a disclaimer. But you guys do need to upgrade the RAM. Generally speaking, 16 gigs is okay. It's okay for most things light to medium on low settings. But for optimal experience, if you want to run something heavy, like, I don't know, say Destiny 2, then you're obviously going to need a lot more. So in this particular instance, I would say 32 would definitely be enough. 24 is probably the bare minimum to run something that heavy. If you want to be technical with it, and you wanted to give yourself a higher roof above your head, metaphorically speaking, give yourself some breathing room, 32, 48, 64 would give you more than enough breathing room. Anything over 32 and up, would give you more than enough breathing room for your CPU to have, and your GPU to have less strain on it. That's actually a good thing, because if more power you consume and the more heat is generated by the games because your RAM is not strong enough to propel your game to its best performance, then your fan actually has to work that much harder. If your fan has to work that much harder, funny story, which is really not so funny, your battery, over time, well, let's put it in terms of current events. It's a virus. Not a literal virus, but a virus to your battery. If your fan runs hot, heat gives it a heat stroke. And if it gets a heat stroke, and of course you don't take the battery out and replace it, then obviously your battery gets killed. Your battery, which is walking in life, suddenly, over time, dies. That's the analogy. That's basically what happens. Your battery dies. So you have to make sure that you don't put too much strain on your battery, because it'll speed up the process of your battery's death, and then eventually your battery will not be able to hold a charge within a couple months, maybe a year. Now, you have plenty of time. It's not like it's going to happen within like a day or so. Probably take a couple months to maybe a year or two, depending on what your battery's capabilities are. But adding RAM can not only improve the performance of your game, it'll also reduce the strain on your battery and your CPU fan's cooling mechanism, which will actually generate heat. With my computer, my fans run loud as I don't know what. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a test here, and I'm going to let you guys hear the fan, and I'm going to pull up the task manager so you guys can see how much of this is being taken up. I'm going to render up the performance, and then, as a matter of fact, let me step over here for just a second into my little studio area and grab my controller. I'm gonna actually load up a game so I can give you guys the full scoop on this. And I'm gonna let you guys hear the fan as well, because the fan is gonna run hot. And you'll see that momentarily once I get Destiny 2 launched up. Now, I'm gonna wait for it to boot into the main menu, and then just give it a second. I'm gonna load all the way in, and you guys will be able to hear the fan, how loud it is. Obviously, if the louder your fan is, the more heat it's generating. Just listen very closely, putting as close to my thing as possible. Matter of fact, I might even just put it on my keyboard. It's low at first, then it just cranks up. If you guys can hear that fan noise, that's the fan generating heat. Now it's not loud right now, but it will be very shortly. Now, just so we're clear, the main reason why I'm doing this video is to teach you guys practices and tips, and really give you guys background information as to how the RAM would prevent something like this. Now, I've been doing tech stuff for school for quite a while now, and I've been working with computers in general for several years. So this is like right up my alley, and you guys will see in just a second that when I finally do load in, the GPU 3D rendering, which you want to keep in mind, the 3D is the process that renders your images. Everything else doesn't really matter. That 3D in the top left corner, that's what matters. Now you guys can really hear it. It's getting a lot louder. So now you guys can see that the GPU, the 3D rendering, is going up in percentage. And adding RAM will prevent something like that from reaching max. Once you get into the game, it sounds loud as crap. So you actually hear the fact that it's getting overheated. It's getting really hot. Now, if I put it down here, it sounds a little bit louder from the bottom, because that's where the fan's coming out at. And so just so I can give you guys a different perspective, let's launch a resource heavy portion of the game. Let's launch Gambit. Let's try Gambit. I'm not going to play through it. I can take the penalty, because I don't really play Gambit much anyway. Let's launch Gambit, and let's test this at a certain amount of frames. And so, and when the loading process starts, now you really hear it. So the point I'm getting at is, it is anything resource heavy like this, for example, this high-end game, when you're on the RAM like that and you're on 16 or less, it will mess with the computer, your frame rates, everything will be impacted. The more RAM you have on an integrated chipset, the better your performance is going to be. That FPS is going to drop down to like average 28, 34. And I only know that because I ran a benchmark test on this just last week when I was testing it after I had upgraded the RAM. And now you really hear the fan now. Listen to how loud that thing sounds. You don't want that because your battery's going to get killed over time. So, I really advise 32 or better. 24 minimum. It might not be dual channel, but it's better than nothing, honestly. And if you can hear the fan right now, you can just imagine how bad it would be on 8 gigs or 4 gigs. And a matter of fact, Destiny 2 wouldn't even launch on 4 gigs. I've actually tried to boot up GTA. It would not even let me launch the game itself. It would pop up, and then if you did get past the blocking screen, it would glitch out so bad it would kick you out of the entire game as a whole and lag your system for quite a while before it returned to normal. So most games won't even let you launch them on 4 gigs. I've seen people try. There have been people who have tried. They have not been very successful getting in. So, matter of fact, turn this up. Alright, this is what it looks like in game. I can move a little bit freely. I'm about 20 frames per second. Now I'm at 37. That's the key number right there in the top right. When we load in completely, that number's gonna drop. Keep an eye on that number. See how it drops to to almost near nothing almost? Or almost, well, not near nothing, I'm saying like maybe close to 20. It's around 30, around 35, 30, 37. Now, 16 gigs you can run stuff. I've done this before. This is nothing new. And if you lower your settings and your render resolution for certain games, it will actually work in a decent state. Like Forza's medium. This is high end. Forza's medium and Forza 4, and it does run extraordinarily well on low. I've played it on low before, so I know that Forza will work. So anyway, that's the end of the test. So we can go ahead and back. I can go back out of this. I don't know why I said we. I'm kind of used to saying we all the time, and so that's the percentage of what was being rendered. It was at around 60, 70-ish%. You don't want it to be at 90. That's way too high, and it will really lower your frames. But if you are interested in doing some more research and finding out where you guys can purchase some RAM, most laptops like this use SODIMM, and I'll leave a link in the description to where you guys can find SODIMM for a reduced cost. Now it might not be low like, you know, promo code low, because I don't have any affiliation with any stores, but I will leave a link to a store, a reputable store like Newegg or Crucial or something. I'll leave a link to the lowest price RAM for the week that I can find in the description, so you guys can make a better buying decision when buying the RAM, because the RAM can be like 32 gigs can be upwards of anywhere between 44, 50, and around, say, 120, depending on what you get. Now, if you get 64, you're going to look at something, you're going to double that. You double that range, the minimum and the maximum there. I would say start with 32, maybe 24 if you're feeling a little bit less of a performance crisis and more of a budget crisis. Some people don't have the means to afford to upgrade their RAM. If you don't have the means to afford upgrading your RAM to 32 gigs, I will suggest something, and I will suggest this as many times as I have to, because this is what I did at first when I first got this Dell. And I'll show you, because I have an HP down here that when I first got the Dell, I have an 8 gig stick in there, 2 8 gig sticks right now. When I had the laptop, I only had 1 8 gig stick that came with the computer. I had 2 sticks of 4 in this computer. This computer, HP, had two sticks of 4. And the sticks of 4, I ripped one of them out, or not literally, but took one of them out, and I placed them into the Dell. Now, if you guys, like that, my point is, if you guys have an old laptop, of like, not even that, doesn't even have to be brand spanking new. It can be old and not work. And the RAM on the inside, if you have 8 gigs, 12 gigs on the inside of the laptop, 16, maybe the 16 is in 2x8s, or maybe the 16 is in 1x16, because there are some cars that do have 1x16, and maybe you're lucky enough to find it. If you guys have any old computers that are lying around your house, and the display's broken, you have a current laptop that you're using that you bought because those don't work, and you're able to get the RAM out of those laptops, what I honestly will recommend to you is to go into those old laptops with the screwdriver kit. You can buy them off of Amazon. If you have one at home already, which you probably do if you're a PC enthusiast, you like to mess with stuff, you probably already have one lying around. And you probably need a certain screwdriver head to get the screws out. Pop the lid open, doesn't take long. Take the stick of RAM, out of the old laptop, the screen or body might not even work, and you might just want to chuck it. Well, if you want to chuck it, I have news for you. If you take the RAM out of the computer before you get rid of the laptop, if you ever buy a new laptop or you have one that has a certain amount of RAM and it has an additional slot, then if you take that RAM out of the old laptop, if you have the additional slot, you can put that RAM in to the new laptop, and you can save a lot of money. You will pay zero doing that. Than going to Best Buy or Amazon or Newegg and paying $50 for a new set of RAM, when all you have to do is just take it out of your computer and potentially save, you essentially save money that way. I'm just going to say it plain out. You just save a lot of money. You save tons of money. You don't even have to pay anything. If you don't have a screwdriver set, you have to pay for that. But most of those go for like, what, $20 or something? 30 bucks. So even if you do have to pay for the screwdriver set, you're only looking at $30. I'd much rather go the cheapest route and take the RAM out of an old computer and put it into the new computer than go buy a new set of RAM, knowing that, anything can happen. And also, even if you're not going to actually use the RAM from the old computer, and you're getting ready to chuck it, take it out just in case. Because the thing is, you might not be able to use it, or you might be able to use it either way. If you still take the RAM out of the laptop either way. Because if you take the RAM out of the laptop, maybe you already have an additional stick. You still take it out, if something happens to your current laptop, or something happens to the RAM, liquid spills, any of that, and you need to make repairs or buy another laptop. If you chuck the computer with the RAM in it, then you have to buy another set of RAM. But if you take the RAM out of the computer, then you're gonna pay zero for the RAM, because you have a backup set of RAM, is what I'm getting at. You have RAM in your old computers if you have an old computer. So why pay, like I said, why pay $50 when you can just pay zero and take the RAM out of your old computer and actually put it into the new computer? You save money that way. Now, that's just my 2 cents. You don't have to do that. That's just a recommendation for those who don't have the money. If you don't have the money to upgrade the RAM, take it out of an old computer. That's what I did. That's what I did before I had enough money to buy the new stick, the Crucial stick that I currently have. That's what I did beforehand. Well, I guess that's it, because I made my point at this point in time. I am sorry, I talk a lot. I know. I'm gonna get used to it, and so some people might not get used to it. Some people might get used to it. It's normal for me, but computers are something I'm passionate about. If you guys like this video, find it useful, like it, subscribe. I mean, either way, whether you like it or subscribe or not, I mean, the video's here if anybody needs it. So I just thought I'd make the video. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch it. I don't even care if anybody watches it. It's really just to help you. It's to help you guys make a better decision for your buying and a better decision for your performance of your PC. And so I leave you guys with this message that if you guys need any sort of equipment for any reason, there's always the option of taking it out of an old computer or buying cheap from someone or some website that offers it for a reduced price. All right. So anyways, don't forget the tips. I know I talked a lot. I'm HJ, and I will see you guys in another video.